telling you, tonight it's gonna be off the chain. Oh my God. OMG. That's all I gotta say. OMG. OMG. And I got in the studio with me. I got my boy Stephen. I got my wife Val, Lady V. She's out chilling with us. And of course I got my boy all the way from New York, my co-host Maurice Good. And listen, we live on the set here tonight. Hey Mo, what you got going on, man?
Oh man, I'm just so blessed and fortunate to, move forward with the organization that I'm starting in Baltimore, which is GOAL, GOAL, which stands for Gaining Opportunities Through Achievement. So, the momentum is picking up, and I'm just looking forward to continuing to do the work of the Lord.
Wow. Stephen, man, how you feeling right now, man? You on the set live with us. How you feeling?
I'm good.
You good? Okay. All right, Lady V, what's good? What's good with you, girl? You want to hang out with your boo thing today? I got you. Hey, look, listen, man. You know how we roll. We real. We keep it real. Raw and uncut. And tonight, listen, we got a powerful topic that we just want to discuss. And poverty and parenting. Poverty and parenting. And what does it mean to not have the means to take care of your children the way you want? People really deal with that issue. And I know most parents that don't have the means, if not all, they wish they can do more for their children. Not saying, hey, I want to be rich or I want to be braggadocious or prideful in the things that I have in terms of earthly possessions. But many people feel like they want to do more. And sometimes it just, they just been trapped in poverty. So, and you got to think about the society, how society can judge you as a parent because of your lack of resources. I mean, many people are judged. And is there a double standard as how parents get viewed and judged from both sides of the tracks? So tonight, Mo, I know this is a conversation, man, that's really been on the minds of people. I mean, poverty and parenting. Just talk to me, man.
We take some things for granted, right? And give you an example, like a child being able to have their own room, right? And so, like, for those who are fortunate enough to be able to provide for their children and provide their children with their own room, they don't think about, like, it's like, okay, well, we got this house or we got this apartment and they got their own room, like, no big deal. But there are so many people, there are so many people who can't provide something as simple as being able for their child to have their own room.
Wow.
And how that trickles down is because, like, all of the social scientists in terms of educational scholars would tell you that in order for a child to be successful academically, they need space where the space is quiet. So if I have to share, if let's say I'm 14 and I got to share this room with my two brothers or my three brothers for that matter, right? And so now, and they vary in age from, let's say, 11, and I'm 14, it's hard for me to do my homework.
Right.
So, that thing, poverty and parenting, it runs really deep. It's not just something, we're not just talking about being able to provide your child with joy, right? We're talking about something that is so much deeper than being able to provide materialistic. We're talking about basic needs.
Wow. That's interesting. I mean, when you really think about it, it's really, really interesting. When I think about that, like some children and many children I mean, even the scenario you just brought, excuse me, when you talked about children not having their own bedroom. I mean, that's that's just in itself, that's an issue. That's overlooked by a lot of people. I mean, it's very, very relevant. And don't get me wrong, it's a need being met, right? Because you have a place to lay your head. I remember growing up where we didn't we had to share beds and things like that, but then also we didn't have pillows. You know what I mean? Like, we may have had a pillowcase, and sometimes we had to stuff clothes and things like that in pillowcases to make pillows. Now, I'm not saying everybody that's listening going through something like that, but all in all, poverty and parenting, even some people may not be, necessarily living totally in poverty, but they gotta work for everything they have. Um, every they gotta spend so many hours, work 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. And some of it is people living above their means, but some people they doing all they can. And so when I think about this, I don't know how my wife feel, or how Stefan, or even Maurice, like, just in terms of what does this mean, and the pressure that it puts on parents to provide those needs. And then from a parent's perspective, the lack of understanding that some children have in regards to what they do and don't have. And you know what I mean? And so some children can be very unappreciative, but they have their own room. They have certain things. They have full meals every day. That makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, you can go in the refrigerator and actually pull out a meal. But there's some children that they have to scramble, to even make a bowl of ramen noodles or something. So it's there's a yeah. I know I'm kind of doing a lot of talking, but like, Lady V, what do you? I mean, in terms of what you seen growing up, or what we see even in our ministry, or have seen just in family, whatever. What's kind of your take on this?
Um, well, growing up, I really didn't see the struggles that we went through. I know that we did. Um, my mom kind of made sure we had food and stuff in the fridge. As a child, I didn't know that, but now seeing like my sisters and seeing them not be able to provide for their children what they need is hard for them. They resort to asking people for money to buy school shoes and stuff like that. And my sister will break down and cry because she don't have the food. She run out of food at the end of the month. So I see the struggle is really real. It's hurtful, and it breaks my heart to see kids go through that. I hate to see kids with holes in their shoes and holes in their pants and stuff like that, and not being taken care of. And then you automatically assume the mother ain't doing her job, but she's struggling trying to provide for the kids she have. So, and it hurts me to see people knock like that, like, oh, you just don't take care of your kids, and that's not it. You struggling trying to take care of kids, plus pay the bills, plus put food in their mouth. So, and you don't get the help that you need through the government all the time, especially if you got a job. Even if you're making $7 an hour, they consider you working, so they cut your food stamps down. So now you got to pay cash money to get to feed your kids, which you really don't have because you're trying to pay bills also.
Wow. So this is a powerful powerful element. I'm gonna get you in a moment, Steph, and I want you to I want to make you I'm gonna make you earn this today, because I feel like you got something to say. But Mo, in terms of this whole piece on, um, I know you got something to say, but in terms of what my wife just kind of shared, because it is an embarrassment if you don't have like you want to provide for your children, and it's embarrassing. Like you kind of just have this thing you feel in your own heart, like, man, I know I can do better, or if I am doing my absolute best, it's just not enough. So Mo, I don't know what's on your heart or on your mind with it in regards to this, but what you got to say, man?
Lady V just hit a home run because she's exactly what I don't know the exact numbers, and so I don't want to just throw numbers out there, but I know it's more than what people think they are in terms of, families who are dealing with that type of experience. You know, I have a friend of mine who I used to work with years ago, and she took her family from New York to Florida, and now she's the property manager of a large apartment complex. And so she was telling me that her apartment management company, they just applied with the school board for the food, to be a summer lunch program. And she said already within the first week, they had 50 children that they've been feeding for lunch. And it's only an hour, so from 12 to 1, they feed children and then they give them a snack at 3 o'clock. And she said not all of the children are coming from her particular complex, but they're coming from surrounding neighborhoods as well. And, for me, it was like the need is so great, right? And so, like, all of not just schools, but organizations, nonprofit organizations should be working with the school system to be that food, that lunch, that summer lunch site, so that these children can eat, because now the school is out. A lot of children aren't eating.
Wow, that's real.
Mm-hmm.
That's real, and kids can eat you out of a house and home, especially over the summer. I'm feeling that right now.
Yeah.
Now I know if you listening out there, I want you to take down our call-in number because I want you to call in today. The number is 614-577-1434, 614-577-1464. Excuse me, 614-577-1464. And if you like to text us, because you may not want to call in or you may just kind of be busy, just 614-377-4592. You can also go to my Facebook page and make comments and things like that in regards to our show tonight. I remember free lunch. Yeah, I mean, when you said that, Mo, I mean, we were called the free lunch bunch, and we used to sing it walking down the street because we just knew at that point of the day we were going to get a meal.
That's right.
And during my time growing up as a young person, our community was plagued by the crack epidemic, and there was so much going on. And we really weren't promised to have a meal that night. I mean, my mom, she did everything she could. She went to food pantries. She if we had to borrow some chicken from grandma, my mom did everything she could. But sometimes it was really, really, really slim. And just outside of even the food, it's like, okay, a mother or father is just really doing their best to provide. That takes away from the time they can even spend with their family. So there's so many different things that it affects it. And I don't necessarily have the answer, right? I mean, and this is a big issue for families. And I think one of my main thoughts that I'm thinking right now is that there's an understanding with the children, and sometimes it's not with the children and parents, or a single parent, if you will, that, hey, I'm trying. You know what I mean? Because sometimes that pressure, mom, what we gonna eat? Dad, what we gonna eat? And if you don't have no answer, it's pretty tough. And I remember times where we had to eat powdered eggs for breakfast and powdered milk, borrow some government cheese from our next door neighbor. you know, it was hardly ever bread. And so here's what I thought in my mind, Mo, and to all those that's listening, that when I come of age, I'm gonna do my best to position myself for my family to have a better opportunity in regards to their basic needs. Now, my children don't get everything they want, but in regards to basic needs, they're rich. You know what I mean? You know, so they gonna have toothpaste. You know, they're gonna have soap. We're gonna have warm water. We're gonna have running water. I mean, there was times growing up, and Mo, you could probably attest to this. Is we didn't have water for days, and we had to figure out how to get water or even hot water because the heat was turned off. It's just an amalgam of things that leave you scarred. But I think sometimes those scars can not haunt you, but it can make you a better person and more appreciative to just the things that seem so simple. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems so simple to be able to make a peanut butter sandwich nowadays. I felt like Smokey. We had peanut butter, no jelly, ham, no burger, cool, no egg. You know, it was just too much going on. So, and then the issue of, you know, you kind of spoke about earlier, Mo, and so just having that, but then being judged, because Lady V, you kind of hit some of it, then being judged by your family, being judged by your peers, being judged by society, and even, you know, I thank the Lord for our government allowing or creating opportunities for people to get food stamps and things of that nature. But sometimes there, you know, caseworkers can be pretty harsh on people and make people really feel a certain way or go through a whole lot of, you know, channels to even make that happen for their families. And it's tough. So I don't know what you're thinking, but I'm just kind of throwing some stuff out there.
And you know, and you, man, you hit on so much, and absolutely, and because it's like a domino effect. I remember, now I'm 43, and I remember as a 6-year-old, maybe even 7, right? There was a time my mom had lost her job as a nurse. And up until that point, life was great. I'm my only child. Life is awesome. And then she loses her job. And I remember a time when like I said, I'm 6 or 7, and we had a bowl of chopped up hot dogs, right? And a little can of beans. And I remember seeing my mother's stomach growl and her saying, "Go ahead and eat." And me saying to her, "Mom, you eat." And she saying, "No, baby, I'm not hungry." I was 6 or 7 years old. I'm 43. And I remember it as if it happened 5 minutes ago. Now, you know, some people say, well, you know, things happen, but the psychological scarring, right? That scarred me. Mentally, that scarred me. And it also motivated me, like you said, to say that, you know what, I will do everything humanly possible so that my child will not have to go through that. Right? Now, my mother, she took a job as a housekeeper, and back then, minimum wage was $2 an hour. So from the age of 7 to 8, I was a housekeeping kid. I was a latchkey kid. And so she left out. She woke me up in the morning. She left out at, 7 o'clock in the morning, and she didn't get back in until 1 o'clock the next morning. And so pretty much, and on weekends when she got paid, right, we would go and she would stack up on, at that time, the $3-4 TV dinners.
Wow.
And so, there were people in our neighborhood who, I would see the stirs and how they would look at her, and, and they would look in our basket, look in our shopping cart, because we got TV dinners from the cart to the ceiling, and but she was doing the best that she could under those circumstances. Mm-hmm. And so I think that it's only gotten worse. You know, in 2015, there are a lot of people, and we're talking about the working poor, right? People say, "Oh, poor," but there are so many people out here who work every single day, and their ends are not meeting. You know, I met a woman in New York City. I met a woman who works for the Human Resources Association Administration, which is where you get food stamps. And she said that that the last 2 weeks of the month, she has to take her family to the soup kitchen.
Wow.
Now, this woman is responsible for giving out food stamps, but she can't get food stamps herself.
Say, whoa. Now you caught my attention. Say that again. You
So
said
this woman works at the department that distributes food stamps, but she makes too much to get food stamps herself, and so therefore, every 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks of the month, she has to take her children to a soup kitchen,
wow.
and she works every day.
It's tough, and I mean it's tough. I mean, and having a big heart, you wish you could help everybody. And it's hard seeing people go through situations like that. Stephen, I don't know in terms of your generation, your peers, and some of the things that you're seeing and witness and may have went through yourself in regards to this whole conversation. What kind of triggers you the most and stands out the most to you right now?
It's kind of hard to say right now. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come back to that.
You had to come back, because when I look at this whole issue, man, poverty and parenting and poverty, like you said, many people are working. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like people not going out there putting in the work. It's just the job pays just enough to pay your bills, just enough to keep your car running or give you money to catch the bus or public transportation. In the case in New York or places like that, the subway system. But you really don't have that extra income to really, like everything is like so tight. And one of the things that I know every year that really hits me hard is when it's time for school shopping. So many people can't even really get their children anything to go back to school in, let alone school supplies. I mean, there's a lot of people that are struggling just to spend $10 to buy some school supplies. It's either take that $10 and buy school supplies or take it away from my rent or my light bill, because the light bill, the light company or the gas company don't have grace.
That's right.
And so I know we talk solution and things like that, but at this point, this is one of the most toughest conversations I feel like I've ever had on this show in regards to what can you do? What's the, what, like right now, because it could be somebody out there listening right now that's like, man, Mike Daniel or Pastor, I hear exactly what you're saying, man. And y'all having a good conversation, but I can't even have the internet. I don't even have a home phone. I don't, I've been putting in applications and nobody's hiring me. I'm trying to get the jobs, and the job that I am working, they don't even appreciate me, or I'm making $10 an hour, but that's not enough. You know what I mean? I think even, $15, $20 an hour, that's still, it's still going to be some managing in there. I mean, you one paycheck away from being, totally broke.
That's right.
And so it's like, okay, people say save money, but what if all the money that I bring in, I gotta give out to, to my bills? Well, here's one of the things that I pride myself on through the years, about almost 15 years or so, of listening to Bishop T.D. Jakes. And for years, I've listened to a lot of his lessons. And one of his practical messages that he talked about, and maybe this may hit home for some people, this might not be for everybody, but I use this saying, is oftentimes we buy our wants and beg our needs.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that again.
Mm-hmm.
We buy our wants and we beg our needs. So sometimes it's not a matter of what I don't have or don't make or do make. It's a matter of managing what I got.
Right.
And sometimes we live above our means. And I think wherever you are, you may have to look at that and say, okay, I'm bringing in $2,500 a month. I'm bringing in $1,500 a month. I'm bringing in $5,000 a month. Am I spending over that? Am I spending over 40% of what I'm making on bills? I mean, I don't know. I'm not like a accountant or anything like that, but I like to have my bills at a certain level, and I've been applying this practice for the past 15 years. Even when I was making, $8 an hour, I did my best to not spend, over 30-40% of what I was bringing in.
But Pastor, I'm sorry, but Pastor, what if I make $10.50 an hour? I got 2 kids,
mm-hmm.
but I also got my sister's 2 kids, because right now she's doing time for check forgery.
Right.
And so now, it was either let her kids go into the system or keep them in the family. And all of the family said to me, that's your sister. You don't let them kids go into the system. And, we family and we don't do that. And we're going to be there. But then she gets the kids. So I get the kids. And so now I got 4 mouths to feed, not including my own, on the $10.50 an hour. And everybody who said that they would help me, when I say I need to buy little Kevin, my sister's son, why I need to buy little Kevin speakers for school, everybody, dude, I don't got it right now. You should have asked me earlier, right? And so now I do the best that I can, and I get little Kevin a pair of shoes, right? But now little Kevin gets beat in school because he don't have like the LeBrons or anything else. And so now he doesn't want to go to school, and now he's acting out and fighting, and they telling me that I need to come up to the school, but I got the type of job that doesn't allow me to get paid for taking time off. So if I take time off from the job, I don't get paid.
Wow. You asking me to answer that?
So Pastor, help me out.
Wow. In some regard, I'm living most of that now. We took on my nephew since he was, he's 10, going on 10, he'll be 10 next month. We took him on. The good thing is, I have a good wife. And everybody isn't fortunate to have a situation that I have, but my wife was going to school full time for like 4 years or 4 or 5 years. So I was carrying the load, for everything. And, so we have 4 children of our own. So, all of the bills and everything was me going to work. I was one injury away, from not being able to perform my tasks and things like that. So I can't really equate everybody, like say, okay, this is my life is your life. I know situations like that is hard for people. And people do make promises and say, okay, we don't want this child or these children to go to the system. But then people do pull back, and that's the sad part. Like, man, I hate to say this on air, but when we took on our nephew, people felt like I had it like that. You know what I mean? And not saying I didn't want to be there for them. I always felt like I wanted to take care of my own kids and be a mentor to everybody else's and love them and, you know, let them spend the night. But I didn't never think that I would have to actually raise another person's child that, in my opinion, hasn't even tried. It's almost like this person ain't in jail, right? This person is, you know, is practically chilling. And so for me, that's a personal pain. And I can imagine to an extent of like a person sitting there saying, man, I you know, I'm taking this on, but everybody that said they could help, they're not here to help. I only making $10 an hour. It don't seem like I'm about to get no raise anytime soon. I can't go to the different meetings that I need to be at. I'm a good parent. I'm a good person, but I can't be there to provide all the disciplinary actions. And children like that have all kind of different anger issues. They have all kind of different issues that affect them mentally because they do want their mom or their dad, and they wishing that they could be in the same house with they watching how you show love to your children and you trying to balance it out to everybody, but sometimes your kids just got that, I'm gonna snuggle in your arms a lot easier, so it took some time for me to adjust to a kid not being mine to fully just kind of, I don't know if that makes sense, but just really trying to make that adjustment. And it's sad, man. It's sad. So my encouragement will be hang in there, look at your life and say, is this the type of field I want to be in? And many people that's in that type of situation don't have the education. I mean, if you add that to get the type of positions and jobs that can help them even make the money and live the life that they really want to live in regards to finances. So you add in the education element, depends on what level of education is. It depends on where their mind is. It depends on where their stress is. Like, I couldn't imagine my wife taking on all of our children and our nephew without me. And that's the type of situation, that pushes people over the edge. I mean, dealing with children, dealing with bills, not taking your personal life away where you can't even go to the movies. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a lot of mode. I mean, that's hard. I mean, there's no escape for you. You get home, the house is messy, kids that ain't clean, did do their chores, and then it's summertime and all of the food is gone. The dinner is gone, and y'all ate it at lunch and breakfast. So it's like, wow, we got to spend this extra. Man, that's a deep question, man. I don't know if I had to ask. Trust God, right? I mean, literally, like, I trust God and ask God for guidance, ask God to give you wisdom, ask God to give you the help, believe God. And while you're waiting on God to move, keep pushing forward, manage your money as best as possible, have a budget, sometimes you, or even if all your bills are, even if all your money is going to bills, still have a budget that you have, because just going out there and spend, you can kind of say, look at your bills and say, maybe we don't need cable right now. You know what I mean? Maybe we don't need this right now. And because some people in situations like that, they still got cable. You know what I'm saying? I would cut cable off in a minute. Right now in my house, we got it, and we close to cutting cable off. I'm like, you know what? We down to basic. I don't even really got HBO or nothing like that. My kid's mad. I said, long as we got ESPN, I'm good. ESPN and the History Channel and Animal Planet, I'm good. Give me that.
You better than me, because I got the $20 antenna.
No, that's right.
Hey, I don't know, Mo. You pull something out the hat there. I don't have the answer. I know I trust God, and me and my wife are fortunate because I was able to work at a company that really provided blessings for me and my family, but that's not the same for everybody. Plus, I went out and started my own stuff. So when the company I worked for didn't pay me the money that I wanted to make, I'm a natural overachiever. So I went out and I started painting people's bedrooms and learning a little bit about construction, patching up people's holes, and I got better to where people start saying, "Hey, can you remodel my basement? Can you do my roof? Can you paint my whole house?" And it just started coming to me. So I start going after stuff, and that was just me. But I don't know if that's something everybody can do. You know what I mean? I don't know. Oh, you done mess with you got me on this one.
and I was able to throw that out there because from working in the South Bronx and East Harlem and Crown Heights and Fantown, I remember seeing, and even as a child growing up, I remember seeing those scenarios over and over and over. Like the women doing the very best that they possibly could, but it still wasn't enough, right? And so, like, if they were fortunate enough that the father was around, then they got a little extra. They were able to have pork chops, or they were able to have a steak with their rice and whatnot.
Cheese on your hamburger.
Yeah, that's right. and those who weren't, those fathers who weren't around, and it all ties together because we need our men, right? We need our males to step up to be men and to understand that, when you look at that woman and you think that she got it, oh, well, she's going to take care of that. Because I've heard that. I've heard so many sisters say that when I asked this guy for help with his children, he looking at me like, oh, I wasn't there because I knew you got it. But you don't know what that woman is going through. You don't know how deep her struggle is.
Wow.
She make it look easy, but you don't know how many nights a week she's up crying because she want her child to go on this field trip, and she trying to figure out where she gonna get the money from when there is no money to send her child on a field trip. Wow. Or her child got holes in the shoes, and and the cardboard, it's to the point where the cardboard isn't doing any good, right? Or she got holes in her shoes, and I've heard stories of women who share with me, Mr. Good, I got holes in my underwear. I gotta sew up my underwear because I can't afford to buy a new pair of panties, or I can't afford to buy a new bra.
Wow.
Now think about how deep that is, that, I can't afford to buy a new pair of underwear. And this man is from a distance looking at me like, oh, she got it.
Wow. Man, you hit a nerve. Because what came to mind was, and that brings this conversation kind of full circle when you're talking about having a 2-parent home, both parents, raising the children, and the real time help, right? Like right now, I can feel the pressure too. It's like, okay, we ran out of soap powder. We ran out of dishwashing liquid. We ran out of toilet tissue. Such and such has this going on. Like you said, field trips and things like that. You're right there engaged, but when you're not there, you don't feel that pressure. Although you may give child support, although you might throw a few dollars here and there, you're not actively engaged in the daily activities. So you miss out on the real the things that you're gonna miss out on in terms of the real time action, the real time discipline, the real time. Hey, y'all need to eat and go to sleep. Even when you don't have enough food, and how to divide it and making sure people, hey, look, tonight everybody can't get 3 wings. You know what I mean? Tonight, 1 wing for you, 1 wing for you. You don't eat that much anyway. We're gonna break yours in half. You know what I mean? Instead of, you know what I mean? So, but like you said, that's why I'm an apologist to a 2-parent home. Mother and father being there, married, and really pushing the family to go to that next level, because you do have that extra leg, you do have that extra shoulder. But when it's just you by yourself trying to work, trying to figure this out, you don't have that real time, like able to get that rest. And like for example, if my wife is going through something and she's feeling stressed about the kids, I can sense that, right? And I say, hey, let's go out to the movies. Let's go and get a hotel and just get away from the children tonight. You know what I mean? Like I can feel that real time tension, even if it's, hey, let's go get a scoop of ice cream somewhere. Let's just go for a ride. Let's just get away for a moment. Just that real time pressure that many single parents feel, even men that are taking care of their children, and feeling that real time pressure of, do I miss today and miss a few hours and risk losing my job to go deal with my student, my child acting out in school, or maybe somebody is bullying them, injury, anything could have happened. Being at an extracurricular activity, playing the violin, or being in a marching band, or playing a sport, or chess club championship or something. You miss out on those things because you have to supply the needs of the family. And my prayer tonight is that those parents and those families out there, that God gives them the dreams and the wisdom, to pursue more and to make things happen in their life. Because like Mo, like what you doing right now, you saying, I'm going back to Baltimore. You know what I mean? Like, you making moves, and what we doing here, we making moves, and it don't cost nothing to dream. I don't know what I just said. Mo, you still there?
I'm still here, brother, and and there is a cost. There is a cost, because I remember, like I said, as a kid, I remember people telling my mom, well, why don't you go back to school and go to school for something else? And she's like, and she didn't know that I was listening because I was in the other room, but I remember her saying that it takes me 18 hours, 6 days a week, for me to be able to pay the rent, keep the lights on, and put a little bit in the icebox. Where am I going to find time to go to school?
Wow.
And I never forgot that. And I had to, at that time, I had to be maybe about 9 or 10. And I never forgot that, because, and I've seen it with the work that we've done, the work that we do in the community. You have, people say, well, why don't you go to school, and why don't you do this, and why don't you do that, right? And it's easy to say that on the outside looking in, right? Now, some people can. Some people can absolutely, because they run home from work and they just watch television for another 6 hours. But then there's some who leave one job and go to a second job, and maybe even go to a part-time job. Their kids never see them.
Wow.
So their kids are angry. Their kids, have that anger, because now, if I got 3 kids, now I'm leaving it up to the oldest kid to be at the graduation or the award ceremony for the two younger kids.
Yeah. And it depends on how old the children are. I mean, if you got young children that need daycare, I mean, that's a whole, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, Lady V, I want you to say, you know, because before we got married, you were considered a single parent, right? I mean, I was doing my thing in terms of we just wasn't together. We weren't married, but we had two kids. What were some of your struggles, and then, you know, and just kind of that whole feel and things you had to do to survive and work the jobs and things you worked, because I think you worked two jobs at a certain time, and then plus the shift in how things shifted once we connected and got married. What was?
I worked.
And talk about the pressure and how.
Yeah, it was really hard because I got up like at 4 something in the morning to get them dressed, to drop them off. I had to work either. Sometimes I did a 16 or 12-hour shift. So
wait a minute. When you got them, what was the process of getting? So I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm trying to get you to dig a little deeper, because getting the children dressed, that meant you had to wash clothes. You had to do all kind of things, like this kind of really.
I had to make sure their clothes was clean, aren't at night and out, so it wouldn't take me that long to get them dressed in the morning. I also had to make sure they had lunch packed and they ate breakfast before I left. I had to be out of the door and on the road by at least 5:45, 6 o'clock in the morning. It's still dark. I dropped them off. I go to work. Sometimes I wouldn't see them until 11 o'clock that night. I wasn't raising my kids. It was a time where my oldest daughter called me Val because she never seen me. You know, I was working too hard. And then I sometimes when it get closer to Christmas or something, I go to another job. I work 2 jobs. So I was working in a nursing home, then I go into a warehouse and I work too. And I wasn't seeing my kids at all, you know, and I didn't qualify for any kind of government assistance. So I was paying for them to go to the doctor, prescriptions, and buying food in the house. So it was a struggle. So I truly understand how hard it is to survive as a single mom. And when you really want to be that mom that gives your kids everything that they need, and you really can't, because you either going to sacrifice your kid getting raised by somebody else and they acting out, because our oldest daughter started to act out in school. So it was a point where, okay, now I can't work this double. I have to go up to this school and get her. Now my check is short. So now I only can pay a certain amount on a certain bill because I had to take off. And they don't pay you when you take off. You lost out on 8 hours. So it was struggles. I was frustrating to the point where I started to punish her all the time. No, you're not going outside. No, you can't do this. And taking stuff from her all the while she's acting out because I wasn't there. You know, so it's like all the way around, it's a struggle for single moms, even though you were there.
Yeah, I was there, but I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I still had to pay my bills because you had your own stuff going on. And I'm like, you know, so it was.
And you didn't tell me everything. And I mean, let's be real. I wasn't present. I mean, I would see them. I would pick them up. We, you know, spend time with my children. But, you know, I wasn't there to get the real time tension and pressure. And you stuck your chest out to a point where you was like, I can do this by myself, and I'm going to do all I can as a strong woman to not feel like I have to need a man. Because just in case, and this is my opinion, just in case we would have never got back together and got married, you can still survive. Yeah. And I think in the back of your mind, you just didn't know if we were going to work out. This is real right here. This is, you know what? This is real. We're going to have to cut. I mean, this is real. I mean, it's real. Because I was a good dude. I was, you know, I worked my butt off, but I would give money. And thank you for not filing child support on me when I was younger, because it'd have killed my check. But, you know, when she asked for money, I would help her. Her car broke down. I would help her. I would make sure it got fixed. but I missed out on all the little stuff.
But you also sacrificed a lot. Because in winter months, I remember coming over to your apartment and it was cold. And I'm like, why is it so cold in here? It's like 0 degrees. And you actually got my car fixed and sacrificed your gas money. So your gas got cut off.
Wow.
So even though,
I did that.
Yeah. So you sacrificed a lot and to help us, we just wasn't together. So it was hard.
Yeah, it still wasn't enough. We didn't have our resources when pulled together. And I still had to do all I could as a father to help, and play my role. My children always loved me, but they didn't get me there. You know what I mean? And when you came over, it was like that. And that one winter was like that almost the whole winter. And I was sleeping using heating pads and what's it called? The little heat machines, the front little,
the heaters.
Yeah, little space heaters. Wouldn't heat up a room.
Did you not know the name of that?
Yeah, huh?
I didn't know that.
How did you not know the name of it?
You know what? I forgot. I've been far removed, right? Hey, I'm far removed from that struggle. I didn't even remember that. Like when you said that, it literally brought chills to me, and it almost brought a tear out of my eye, because even you worked your butt off, and I know you did. I know you were doing all you could. I know you wanted more for our children, and by me not being there, I didn't help lift that weight.
But I can say one thing. You wasn't in the house, but you made sure that every single bill in that house was paid. We never, ever had anything cut off. And you had your own apartment and was living ridiculous, like living bad, but you made sure when you checked to make sure the electric was on, the gas was running. You made sure everything was running for your kids.
So what happened once we reconnected and we got married? How did that help out in terms of the weight being lifted for you?
It helped it out a lot because I didn't have to work the doubles anymore. I could spend more time with our kids. I was there helping with homework and you was there. So, and it wasn't just me disciplining our kids. You know what I'm saying? It was like, okay, my kid, you do something bad, now go talk. Your dad stepped in. Mm-hmm. So it was like this, we was teaming up. So it was just like a big release. Like it was awesome.
See, that was like my mom and my uncle.
It was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Mo, I know you bubbling, man.
It's deep, and that's exactly it. Like, it's really deep. The little things that we take for granted, right? And so, like, also just in terms of communication. So, like, that father doesn't know what that mother is going through, and vice versa. That mother may not know what that father is going through, And so, like, we've talked on other in past episodes, like that father who's not present, and and so he's looked upon as being a deadbeat, but he may be going through some things where he can't provide. He's not able to provide anything, or he feels like he's not in a position where he can provide anything of substance. And so therefore he removes himself.
Wow.
What he doesn't understand is that you've placed such a burden on the mom that, she may never be able to recover or get from under that situation, because it can create depression. I've talked with women, who have been depressed, and women have said to me, I feel like I'm alone. I could be in a room full of people. I had one sister say to me, I went to my family reunion. It was Thanksgiving or so, Thanksgiving or Christmas, and she was surrounded by family, and she said she felt totally alone, because even though all of these people were family and said how much they loved her and all of this stuff, they were sharing, those wishes, but when she needed things and people knew that she needed things, and they weren't able to provide or wasn't willing to provide, so even though she's in a room full of people, she said she felt like she was by herself.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow. It's this topic conversation that turned into something I wasn't expecting. And I know we gotta kind of digress right now, but it I'm glad I jumped back in the game and was there for my family. I don't know who's listening out there, and like my wife said, you may be in that stage where you working those two jobs, trying to make ends meet for your family. Hang in there, keep fighting, keep fighting, keep pushing, you know, and don't give up. Don't give up. No matter what you do, don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. You can do this. And my prayer tonight for you and your family, your children, is that God supplies your needs. He said, "I'll supply all your needs according to His riches and glory."
Yes.
And not only is my prayer that, but my prayer is also that you step into another realm of possibility, and look and see your life and look at who you are as an individual and tap into the you that can make things happen in your life. You may be an artist and you can draw some stuff. You may, what I mean, you may, whatever, man. It's something in you that God want to pull out. And I just pray that you just continue to grow as an individual and want to go to that next phase, and stay loving your children and do all you can. Because at the end of the day, just like Brother Maurice Good said, that he was 7 years old, 6, 7 years old, and he heard his mother's stomach growl. Children know when parents are doing their best. Children know that. Although mama might not be there that much or daddy might not be there as much as they want, they're more mad that you have to or angry that you can't be there because you're providing versus being angry at you. That's my personal opinion. That's what I feel. That's what I believe. It wasn't that I was mad at my mom. I was mad that she couldn't be there like she wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And so my encouragement, even to the young man or young woman that's listening tonight, your mom is going through. Your mom is trying. Do your best to make the grades and things and keep her from having to come to your school. You know what I mean? Like play your part, right? Do your best educationally. Do your chores so when she come home the house is clean. She can get an extra hour of sleep. You know what I mean? Put up the dishes, like help, man. Don't just sit there and when she come home and nothing is done. It takes the pressure off. You are a team. And there's many issues, Mo, and I'm about, any closing remarks from Steph, and then we're gonna go Lady V, then we're gonna go to Brother Maurice, and we're gonna be out.
All right. I'm gonna just say, these women are doing the best they can, and we just got to give them their props because they trying, even though the fathers ain't in their life or ain't in their children's life, they're still trying the best as they can.
Give them their peace.
I just wanted to tell them to, stay strong, keep your head up. One of my struggles was, even though we got married, I still had the mindset of living single. And so we struggle with, we need to save money. And I'm like, this is my money. I made my own. So just make sure that when God sends you that help, that you're not so strong-minded that you run your help away.
Wow. Brother Mo?
I'd just like to say to all of the people is that understand that you're not alone. So I gave the scenario about what I went through. Mike gave the scenario of what he went through. And Lady B let you know that she lived. And so, it wasn't by coincidence that she was in the studio. Lady B is a testimony to let you all know that you're not alone. And I know a lot of times you feel alone, but you're not alone.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Lady V, I feel led to just to have you pray and just speak a prayer of blessings over our listeners tonight? Just close us out with prayer.
Father, I just want to thank you for blessing us to come together again, oh God. Father God, I ask you to touch every heart and every mind that's out there, oh God. Father God, give them the strength to stay strong, oh God. Bless their finances, bless their minds, oh God. Bless their homes, bless their children, Jesus. Father, I ask you to touch every heart, oh God. Father God, I ask you to send them the help that they need, oh God. Show them that you are there to provide for them. Let them trust in you, oh God, to call on you, oh God. Father God, cover their children, oh God. Bless them to, even though they're working hard, to give them the time to spend with their children, oh God. Father, I ask you this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Until next time. Oh, before I go, hey, listen, hey, we're gonna be posting pretty soon. Sometime the end of the month. Listen, we're doing the What If I Had a Father conference. Yes. Leave no father behind. It's gonna happen here in Columbus, Ohio, February 2016. So we'll be giving more information on that. And if you don't have my book, What If I Had a Father, The Man I Never Knew, I'm going to need you to be going to www.deanbooks.com and ordering your copy today. Until next time, God bless you. Holla at me. Peace.